welcome. Finally back for some Steel Division. After we covered a lot of Group B already this season, we're now finally swinging into Group A. Over to Nilla, Crayfox, Eugen, Neff, Gonzo, and JKV. And at least 4 of these people we will see today. And yeah, we will start with the game Gonzo versus Crayfox. So, the last season 3rd place versus the last season 2nd place. So on paper it should be a really close match. Let's hope both sides also deliver and give us a nice, awesome best of 2 here. And afterwards we will go into Nilla versus JKV over here. So let's have a short look onto the decks. We start with Gonzo. We'll play in game number 1, 2nd Guards Tank Core. All these juicy T34, 85s, ISUs, some nice SIS-2s as well, solid AA, PE2 bombers, so all you need there, and then a solid amount of infantry. Has been there since the beginning, but only with the T34 buff really became a division that gets played. But on the other side, Crayfox has a division that is good against everything but the T34s, I think, with 3rd US Armored, the Spearhead, with the Jumbos, with the Sherman 76s, with the normal Shermans, a lot of infantry in half-tracks, and quite a couple of fighter bombers. That should be quite an interesting match. Let's hope both sides deliver, as we are here on the lovely map of Ciano. And on the left side in blue, Gonzo spawning with his 2nd Guards Armored. While Crayfox here is bringing in the Spearhead from the right. And he will most likely try to protect a couple of flags over here, whilst Gonzo is setting quite a couple of forces into the south. Guardias and half-tracks. Meanwhile in the north, quite a couple of Gods and armored rifles, but not that much here for Crayfox. Not an insane amount of units on the other side though either. PTRS for the rush, a couple of Tankos, Rajvetka and half-track. More PTRS I guess for the north. And then also Rajvetka and some Tankos in the north to hold the tree line. So I wouldn't expect too much aggression in the first 2 to 3 minutes in the north. Obviously with reinforcements that can shift, because both sides don't have too deep of a defense. But the main focus of both sides seems to be the south here. This is where the engagement will go on. Also, Tosti, you obviously have to give me a name in addition to requesting that. So toss me a name in there, Tosti, and then I will write it down. Thank goodness a Nikki comes in. Just name it Tosti? Okay. Okay. Any province in Italy you want to name Tosti? If that's allowed. Like, I'm not quite sure if it's allowed. Otherwise I might have to refund it to you. I'm not quite sure if it ended up on allowing renaming provinces, or if we stopped it from being allowed. But, yeah. Any wish Queen province. Okay. We will find a province that is worthy of the name Tosti. And here we go. Armored rifles in north, south, and center. Everywhere. Everywhere armored rifles. On the other side, T34 85s coming in. So yeah, these are obviously the nasty boys at the moment with their really good drop off now. Like, not that much drop off on long range. But the first kill goes to the M8s, killing one of the jeeps here of Gonzo with the OB25, I think it was inside. So that's pretty nice. PTRS has to smoke himself off. And the units over here in the south also get caught out in the open. Not the best start here for Gonzo. Meanwhile in the north, not much happening. Both sides are fine with leaving it in a stalemate up there, but in the south, Crayfox is going into the offensive. Trying to get the PTRS here killed off with the 50 cals. Should be able to manage that. And then only the T34s are in his way now, but they are obviously nasty. So he has to be careful. Armored rifles with bars also don't have bazookas, so he can't rush the T34 with them. Oh, they have? Okay, I messed that up then. The bars also have a bazooka. Okay, I thought they didn't. One of them doesn't, but I guess the armored rifles and the armored rifle bars both have it. Okay. Meanwhile, the 7mm MGs here keep on firing, and the T34-85 is around the corner. And it's engaging the 76. Don't know if Gonzo is focus firing there. Doesn't quite look like it. But in the south, his forces are overrunning the engineers and the half-track of Grey Fox. Nearly getting the surrender there on his half-track. Getting it killed though with the 50 cal in the end. But a couple more 76s coming up. T34-45 for now goes on the retreat mode because armored rifles and M8s coming around to flank it. So Gonzo is careful there. Grey Fox going up to a 1410 here. More T34-45s coming around. So Gonzo all in on these units that are received as OP at the moment. We will have to see if they actually are. I'm pretty sure that they are good in dealing with Shermans though, like, that's for sure. Shermans and Panthers at the moment are the unit that struggle the most against them in my experience. You can deal pretty well with Panzer IV and so on with them, and the 76 is relatively similar to a Panzer IV in penetration, but a bit less penetration, so maybe it also still struggles quite a lot with it. Also, obviously, it's 15 points more than the Panzer IV, so you can't spam them out as much as you can spam with Panzer IVs, which is another issue against T34-85s. As we, by now, are up to a number of 5 of them in the south. So, both sides fully committed to this battle. More 76s on the side of Grey Fox. Jumbo moving forward as well. And this is kinda insane. An M1 gun here in a really nice position for Grey Fox. That one might be real helpful for anything that comes over the edge here. In the north, really no movement at all. Not a single unit went in there to test the water. Both sides completely fine with leaving it at a 50-50 there. Grey Fox will now lose the flags over here, which means it will go back to a 12-12 on the whole map as well. So we will have to see if anyone can push in. As both sides are playing Vanguard, obviously no income advantage at any point for anyone. So trades are really important here. Territory only playing a secondary role, and is more about the positioning here that you can get, and then force trades maybe on your enemy by taking a flag and then forcing him to come back onto it. But so far, both sides trading a lot of shots, but ooh no, that was, yeah, that's a couple of M8s, half-tracks. Weren't there 2 Shermans up here? Where's the second Sherman gone? It's gone down. That's a half-track. There has been the Sherman 76 killed, I think. As I'm pretty sure there were 2 up here. Oh no, it's down here. Okay. Yeah, you don't want to engage T34-85s on long range with the 76s. I would guess something like 1,000, 1,200 meters is where you want to start to take the engagements. At that point your penetration is somewhat realistic, and you get the better fire rate, you get the better aim time with the 76s, so you will win out if you can penetrate against the Shermans and against the T34-85s, but the issue obviously is the penetration value. They pretty easily penetrate you there, and you don't penetrate them at all. So if you take a fight like this, I don't feel too confident about the chances of the 76s. They seem to do decent here. Did they got any real penetrations in though? No, they just deal a lot of stress damage with bounces because they're so accurate with one's direct and see at their high rate of fire, but they really don't get the kills in. We now have 2 M1 guns though. Try to change that. Meanwhile, one of the 76s goes down though. M1 gun over here tries to help out, but gets engaged by a lot of infantry. And in the north, nothing major is happening. T51 comes in, hits the Guardias, gets the kill. T2s coming onto the armored rifles. Should be able to get the kill there. Ooh, 76 number 2 dice. So it's going down. And one gun as well. And I feel always a bit awkward to see the one with the weaker long-range tank trying to cross this field. Especially, like, I guess in the early game it's still fine, but like at this stage in the game I'm not quite sure if there's actually a real shot here for Crayfox. Like, I think Gonzo would have to slip up real badly to actually lose this, and I could rather see him winning up here maybe, or maybe here, and just entrench the south with a lot of nice anti-tank guns positioning, get a couple of 76s maybe to pop out when the enemy comes close, for a situation like that, but trying to push over the open with 76s I don't think is the right choice here. I would consider moving in somewhere else, or yes, do it in the late game maybe, when you get some smoke off maps, smoke through mortars or so. But just driving in Shermans into T34s doesn't look too healthy in my book. Maybe Crayfox has another experience. Obviously the Jumbos can tilt trades, but Gonzo so far really avoided that one pretty well. The Jumbo didn't do much at all in this game, and it looks also like Gonzo is focus firing when he engages. So because that's the biggest advantage of the Jumbo, that if the enemy just gives a hunt order, everything focuses to Jumbo, and it just is a big bullet sponge that takes all the shots from the enemy, whilst your tanks deal out damage. But first of all, the 76s don't really deal out damage, and second, the Gonzo just avoids that by focusing the 76s directly, and the Jumbo itself doesn't deal much damage. So if it's alone, it doesn't do much. You don't want to have Jumbos on their own, at least not on the offensive. Like, Jumbos on their own on the defense are fine, they just hold you a flank or so, but in this scenario, I'm not sure. Like, he kills off quite a lot of infantry here, not gonna lie, but there's still all the 85s alive. There has not been a single 85 being killed. Oh no, I'm wrong. 185 has been killed down here. But that's against quite a lot of Shermans and M8s and so on. So the trades so far for Crayfox, especially in the tank department, haven't been too good. Infantry-wise, I think it's a bit of a different story, but also not amazing. And now we have an ISU 152 around as well. So the long-range tank fight situation doesn't really get better. Far from it. Because the ISU also has a good protection against all the shells, like even against the 76. And its HE shell can take out AT guns as well. And if it's close enough, the Jumbo also might get penetrated by it. Jumbo now has its tracks broken, so can't move. And Gonzo also controls the skies so far. Bofors coming in. Yak 1B on the hunt for the P51. P51 will be able to shoot the other one down though. The Bofors unloads in time. It might be able to help out. I don't know if the next head-on engagement is the right choice for the P51. It didn't look like it. Yes. Goes down there. One trying to come around behind the Yak 1B now, but Gonzo is getting it out of the way. Yak 1B, the more maneuverable plane. So if you micro it perfectly, you shouldn't get caught here by the P51. And yes, the Bofors would have helped out, but with it being unloaded a bit too late, it didn't. And by now, the Jumbo and the 76 have fallen in the town fight, as there was just too much firepower against them. It looks like they maybe got a penetration in. Yes, something got a penetration in onto the ISU at least, but that means there's only one tank against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 now on the side of Gonzo. And I just don't see that going well for Crayfox at all. Yak 1B gets killed off by the P51. Gonzo stopped microing that one now. So it got into a head-to-head engagement. But he got himself in a supreme position in the south. Meanwhile in the north, Crayfox finally invested a bit. Got an off-map there as well that struck the town. Got most of the units pinned down and now moves in with the engineers. Maybe a bit too late, as most of the units, now all of the units are unpinned again. Though they still have quite a high stress bar, so they might go down relatively quickly still. Tank goes over here, getting pushed back. He might be able to break through there, but meanwhile he could lose the whole south. Wolverine's coming in. M10 tank destroyers coming in. I think that's the Wolverine, right? I think that's just... Or is had the Wolverine a different gun than the M10? I might not be 100% correct with that. I think the Wolverine is just the designation of the English for the M10 though. But there might be some minor changes to it. The chassis for sure is the same. Engineers dealing with the Tanko Sanikis. PTRS also getting dealt with, so Grey Fox again taking flags in the north, but doing that so after gaining quite a couple of horrible trades in the south. So can he come around here? Can he turn this all around and get actually back on top of this whole situation? Also, I just saw... Thanks for the raid, Type Collision. I was still away at that point. Yeah, sorry for just seeing that in the chat. Yeah, thanks a lot. I hope you had a good stream. And I hope you all enjoy what you're seeing now. M10 tank destroyers all going around everywhere. Armored rifles coming in as well. PE2 gets shut down, gets killed off. Engineers over here pushing into the Rajvetkas. Should be able to deal with that. Armored rifles with bars killed the Rajvetkas as well. M3A1. Yeah, the half track's doing really well right now. Like the infantry fights and so on, all not an issue for Mr. Grey Fox, but the tank fights, I just don't have a clue how he wants to turn that one around. Like, I guess the solution is avoid it, but that will be hard in the long run. There's just so much push potential here. There's just so much push potential here for Gonzo. I think... Yeah, my eyes, the early game situation was just Grey Fox choosing the wrong strategy on approaching this. Like, I get the M8 rush and so on, and that all went well, but the issue is that people often invest too much in this fight then here. Like, instead of disengaging, they commit more and more and more, and this is just not the position to fight for his division. Like, yeah, rather get the Soviets on the offensive and then do something like this. Sniping them with side shots, with the M1 gun, getting an ISU. Things like that are the better way, I think, of dealing with this map. T34s now also coming in the north. Intense are the counter that Grey Fox tries to apply against that. Let's see if it works out. Gets the first one over here. And with APCR shells, they for sure have the penetration power. One of the highest penetration value units in the US arsenal. So it's pretty helpful of dealing with the 110mm frontal armor of the T34-85. Meanwhile, in the north, another T34-85 comes around. A couple of M10s joining in as well. Automachikis on the way into the town. How far can they go? Armored rifles with bars and engineers, obviously eager to destroy them. Can they get off the bazooka? Looks like they struggle of getting off the bazooka. Engineers also not hitting, so the Automachikis actually get in there and destroy everything. Not quite sure what was going on there with the bazooka. Might have been a bug. I guess that someone else has to double check that maybe. If it won though, brings in two 450 kilogram bombs and they kill off quite a lot of the Automachikis. Two full formations and pin down the rest, so that was a clutch moment there. Clutch bombing run from Grey Fox. But it gets instantly countered by a P2 bombing run from Gonzo from the other side. Gonzo got some Tango Sanikis into the position over here, and pushing them back out there will be hard with all the T34 behind them. The Wolverines over here by now got all killed off. I guess they got a second T34 for their troubles, but still not enough to shift the power balance in the south in a meaningful way. Whilst in the north, more to my chickies, more of maps coming around. The 155mm will hit the flag in the north, and with it quite a couple of Tankonosanikis, one Retretka, one leader, but okay, there is units on the way to exploit that. How deep can he go when he gets in there? How deep can Grey Fox go out? Can he get 2 flags? Or can he not even get 1 because these might cut down the reinforcement road? We will have to see. Like really, the infantry fights and so on not going too shabby for Grey Fox, but overall he seems to be quite far behind by now. Gets another T34 for his troubles. And it looks like the Wolverine would have been the best unit from the get-go. I mean, they are rather cheap, 55 points, so same as a Panzer IV. And they have the penetration power of dealing with the pricey 90-point T34 85. So I think they're the better solution than the Sherman 76s. And maybe the one that you can use also better on the offensive. Whilst the Sherman 76s you want to use when the enemy T34 comes around close. Because, as you can see, on medium and long range, the M10s dealing pretty well with the T34. So, yeah. I guess Grey Fox should have waited a bit longer in the south. Wait for his M10s to arrive. And then start to use those to push back Gonzo in the south and retake or take over some of his flags. Meanwhile though, the half-tracks in the north achieved a breakthrough together with the off-map. Off-map pinned down quite a lot of units, forced Gonzo to retreat out of the position in the forest, and the half-tracks exploited that really well, getting Grey Fox 2 flags, so he is finally up to a 1311. Question is, can he get more here? Now T34 comes around. Tankonosaniki over here against armored rifles. They get the surrender. Half-track over here will get killed off by the Jumbo, so it's not like Gonzo doesn't take any casualties, but really the early game was just too efficient, or too inefficient, I would rather say, for Gonzo. For Grey Fox here. Taking too many trades that were just not good enough. So, leads back to a 12-12. All the Machikis here coming from the M8 Scott, getting killed off though. And quite a couple more tanks in on the way in the north for Grey Fox. Can they stem the tide? Can they keep the game on longer and then maybe get some better trades in? Continue this relatively successful ambushing style gameplay that he does at the moment. Will be tough. 3 T34s against 2 M10s that are also kind of out of position, and 1 Jumbo over here. Another T34 in the south, so it might be tough to get in there. Also 2 ZSU M17s by now were placed on the map by Gonzo as some cheap AA. Whilst the Grey Fox tries to continue winning the infantry fight. Quite a bit of infantry though got melted in the open over here by the enemy MG fire and tank fire. And this off-map might hit pretty well. I guess I would have put it more into the infantry, because it's only 152mm, so it's not super efficient against tanks, but might still kill off the open top M10, which is already pretty damaged. M8 Scott, sadly for Gonzo, dodges it by moving out. Fifth one trying to kill off T34s. Not quite able to do so though. Meanwhile, the Bofors also died in the south. But so does a ZSU. M10 got up the hill, got sneaky, got its ZSU for its troubles, but now will get finished off by T34. Still a good trade. Still a good trade there for Grey Fox. But overall, He has to get more of these, like way more of these by now. I mean, he keeps it at 12-12 by a sneaky push in the north, and that sneaky push in the north could pay off. Ah, getting the command. 76 already penetrated though. That's unlucky. That is rather unfortunate. Half track over here against the Automachiki. Oh no. Automachiki's get a kill onto a Sherman over here. That's not something you see every day. Automachiki's over here engaging the half tracks. In Division 1, usually people don't drive them as recklessly, but I think Grey Fox is under a lot of pressure, and that's why he starts to play a bit more hectic, maybe. Makes a couple more mistakes. And so this game got where it's at right now. Yes, the first 5 minutes that didn't really feel like top level Grey Fox play there. I mean, he's an aggressive player and so on, but he is better in the infantry department in the game, first off. And he just wanted too much down here. The start was completely fine. In the start, he traded at least equal, if not better. But then he just went over eager. He just went over eager and wanted too much. And pushed with too many 76s and the one jumbo in there. But there were just too many T34s on the other side. I would have liked it as a feint attack, trying to push down here and then jump in onto it in the north and actually achieve the breakthrough there, but that's not quite how it worked out, so we will have to see how it goes. We'll have to see how it goes. Engineers coming in as well. T34 disengaging. M10 also under pressure. Meanwhile, Jumbo under fire in the north by T34s. And the T5 not really helping out. Jumbo also might get side-shotted, and it's under off-map fire as well, so yes, the point situation by now is just too rough here for Grey Fox. That is you. Luckily for him, not getting a shot on the P51. Yak 1B also falling back, as there's no AA whatsoever. Yak 1B could have gotten the kill there, I think, onto the P51, because that one was rather low on hit points. Already trailing black smoke and being a pretty blacked out module. T34s continue trying to kill off the Jumbo, but they might be able to do so now when it has to show side armor to retreat or so. At least the other T34s could come in relatively soon, try to get the job done. Meanwhile, T34 over here will try to snipe the 155mm. That was not a penetration. But Gonzo on a good way here, in my eyes. He's on a pretty solid way. We are on C-phase, so both sides only get 100 points of income. And that favors Gonzo, who just has more on the battlefield. I mean, we saw the fighter bombers of Grey Fox. He's still up to a 1410, so there is still a possibility here. But it will not be easy. Engineers pushing forward as well. Can he get anywhere? Engineers will pop into the building. Engage the engineer, the Gladius. Jumbo versus T34, which actually should go to the Jumbo, but and it also already got a penetration in, but the penetration chance on both sides should be close to 0. Even one CQC range. And Grey Fox really tries to claw his way back in this game. 14-10, putting some pressure on Gonzo. He's in a strong infantry push in the south, so maybe he can turn it around here. But for that, the T34s have to be somewhat neutralized, and they don't really get that done to them lately. Is that Gonzo? Oh no, that's the 105mm off map. I thought for a second maybe Gonzo off map his own units. I mean, it wouldn't have been the first time that we saw that in a league play. Someone by accident clicking somewhere with his off map and then blasting away his own units. But doesn't look to be the case in this one. T34 is forced to fall back. Sherman with 3-star veterancy gets the first penetration in, gets bounced. But Guardians are coming up, so Crayfox has to be careful here. Gets the T3485, but Guardians get the AT grenade on his Sherman and get the kill. So the situation doesn't really improve here for Crayfox number-wise. He's up to 59 though now. Maybe he can hold it on. Also getting Redka here, or Armored Rifles right next to T3485. Juicy kill there. 13 minutes. Like, really, Crayfox has to throw everything in there and hope that it sticks. And hope that it sticks. People seem to not ban it, so that's why we see it. T51s come around. People tend not to ban it. Even though they got 6 bans by now, so chances are that they could. But they seem to prefer other divisions before that. Yak 1B gets the kill onto 1P51. Good job there. Got ADP over here. Pinned down as well. And Jumbo is in engagement with T34s over here. Gonzo gets another kill onto a P51. So Gonzo also now dominant in the air. Which is not good for Crayfox either. He needs the 59, but he already is down to 1311 now. I just don't see where he gets the flag. I just don't see where he could take the flag. Gets a 1410. Still pressures the north. I mean, he's keeping up the pressure everywhere. And that's what you're used to, Crayfox. He's kind of similar to Quadro U in that if you give him an early game advantage, he will not come back. Question is, will he get the advantage at any point? Well, that's unfortunate there, Thursday. I mean, for me it's mostly the Nina lately, so I feel you. I absolutely feel you. It feels like 50% of my games lately where we played on Lenina. And it's really not an enjoyable map. Gaia DPs over here. Jumping onto the Jumbo. Well, they don't do much there. They don't do much against this Recon Sherman either. Okay. T3485 on the hunt for the Jumbo. Meanwhile, one Sherman coming in the north. Recon's coming in, Armored Rifles coming in, Jumbo coming in, Armored Rifles with bars, M1919. Guardias running through the open. 1311 for Crayfox, 1410 now. Yes, he has to find a way to somehow achieve a breakthrough somewhere and then just tick down the time, but the 1311 is just too long. I will not toss it. I mean, I also finished Lenina earlier than I usually do. Did back in the day. Sherman, Jumbo gets a kill on T3485. Now the other one tries to take revenge. Ooh, off-map actually does. So Jumbo is down. So one more armored unit's gone here for Crayfox. The amount of armored units that he lost in this game must be really staggering. Armored Rifles coming in over here. Halfback gets killed though. Jumbo might be in danger as well. I think that counts as a side shot, maybe not. Like, one of these two should count as side shot. They're kind of 90 degrees away from each other, so even if you hold in the middle, it should be maybe getting a side shot from somewhere. 45-degree angle here. Meanwhile, T34 pushing in onto the Jumbo north. A3 Sherman also under pressure. 76 coming, 75mm coming in. 1410 continues. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Can Crayfox make it happen? Doesn't quite look like it. Looks like Gonzo is really holding on to that 10-14. Doesn't really give it a giveaway. I mean, Sherman got to kill onto the T34, so that's already happy. Or was it? Yeah, I think it was the Armored Rifles, actually. Yeah, guess it was the Armored Rifles. Sherman actually goes down. More Armored Rifles try to come in. T34s over here is annoying. Gets the flag backs over here. Gets the one flag in the south. Yes. There no flag there? No, the flag is back here on this map, right. So. This doesn't give him a flag, but would give him a solid settlement to reinforce into. He's trying to hold it in the north, but Gonzo is pushing heavily. Guardia DPs jumping onto the field as well, together with 2 T34s against no armor whatsoever. Only in armed rifles. Deal with maybe one of the T34s. But they get detected by the Guardia DPs beforehand. So 14-10 here for Grey Fox continues, but that's still 20 minutes, so Gonzo can be absolutely chilled. Which is really bad for Grey Fox. Gets at least a kill. Half track over there. 75mm comes in once more, but that doesn't do much against the 85s. And it feels like people at the moment really lack the knowledge about how to, or like the practice, I guess, rather, to deal with the 85s. I mean, I guess the M10 is a very good idea, but 110mm frontal armor with that penetration is just not a value that we see too often, so people have to adjust, and so far I don't believe we have found the final solution for it. But maybe the moment where we get close to it is the moment where Eugen puts the launch button and presses that onto the Baltic DLC together maybe with the range rework, and if that comes together, then all we learn about T34s might be wrong after all. 14-10 here continues. Another Sherman coming in as well. More Guardia DPs. Can Grey Fox push through here? It is really strong play here from Gonzo to keep him at a 10-14. And letting him just keep on pushing. But, like, yes, the infantry and so on was trading really well for Grey Fox. If he would just not have traded so poorly at the beginning of the game with his tanks, I think the situation would be really, really nice for him. Obviously, I can't really compare it because the game would have went differently, most likely, but for sure the early game push was the issue in the big scheme of things. Costing him too much and not taxing Gonzo at all, leaving all the T34s on the battlefield because of it. So, 10-14 for Gonzo still. Loses some still breakers here, okay. To the jumbo, nonetheless. Don't get in the next hit though. Okay, these guys are getting close to the front line. They might be able to get the other Guardias and Machikis out there as well. And that would be a 12-12. That would make the situation for Grey Fox really, really tough. T34s now engaging a jumbo. One of these duels where both sides just bounce, which is the most classic with the jumbo. But basically everything with a big gun, hull armor and a shitty gun can do that. Duel with another tank of similar fashion. 13-11 for Grey Fox, but he's about to lose a flag, isn't he? Yeah, he will not hold on to this town. And we're back to a 12-12. That's what I said. But he went wide. Gonzo got the flag. E2 comes in. And that means Gonzo can just grind out from here. I mean, sure he has the same income and so on, but if he keeps on using numbers to kill off enemy unit efficiently, then that's still going ahead. So. Gonzo now up to 14-10. Yeah, it looks like the beginning of the end here for Grey Fox. Doesn't look like he can do much here. Brings in another T34s. Gonzo. PE2 coming in as well. on the hunt for the M10 and the Jumbo. So. Jumbos and M10 will get hit. Maybe the Jumbo even dies here to these bombs. Not quite. Meanwhile, the armored rifles come in. Meanwhile, in the north, T34s holding the line against the 75mm. 75mm over here. Trying to get the side shot. Oh no, it's frontal engagement. Oh no. This is not good for Crayfox. Like, it feels like Crayfox is still up there in the uppermost echelon when it comes to micro and so on. It's just decision making wise, this game didn't feel amazing from him. Like, that's the difference to what got him to Division 3, I think. Balance wise, he's just as good as he was back then and is absolutely high level with him. I don't know if he's anywhere on the same level of Gonzo or so, or if Gonzo's better at micro as well. Hard to tell, but yeah, the strategic game went well here for Crayfox, and that leads him into his first victory in the league this season. So, gets Gonzo the win here. 800 more points. In a pretty close game, but just a start. Like, he got a good start here. He got 3 OBs killed. And that's where he should have stopped. Instead, he went on and then he lost all of this. Got 1 T34s over here, but lost 4 M76s for it. Another 76 here. Like, at this point, it's 5 M76s, 1 Jumbo for 2 T34s. This is just not how you play this map with that division. I don't think so. Yeah. Learn that lesson, guys, in the chat. I hope Crayfox learns it for future games as well. As I think he still is one of the best players in the league, so would be surprised if he wouldn't make it to the playoffs. But obviously, the competition doesn't sleep, the competition is strong, and Gonzo is Gonzo. So, game number 1 goes to Gonzo. We will be back with game number 2 in 5 minutes. So here we are for game number 2 of match number 1 of today's. And we are in the part where we sell out. No, where we try to fund the tournament and try to get a bit more money in there, so that the players get a bit more for their effort in the end. And the way to get there is use !Matcherino in the chat on Twitch, or if you are over on YouTube, find it down in the description below, and then you can oh no, I messed something up. The bot is not dead. The bot is dead. But yeah, I will post a link in the chat. You can go there. You can then use the code SDL5 to get 50 cents into the prize pool directly without paying anything. Quite a couple of you already did that, as you can see in the contribution list here. A lot of coupons being used already. So we might get on the end of the coupon thing, but other ways of using it is by doing the G Fuel stuff, which should be refreshed relatively soon, or buying something down here on the marketplace, like for example some hoodies, or if you feel generous, maybe also just contributing a bit of money directly. That's Matcherino. Let's go back into the match. As we have Grey Fox now on second win day, and he will bring in against Vanguard, bring in quite a couple of M8s. None on the tank tab though, fully Sherman, and that's the way I like my Linde as well. The M8s though in the support tab, and then some DB73s, some Spitfires in the air tab. Meanwhile, Gonzo brings in the second New Zealanders, and I think that's the first time we see it this season in League. I'm pretty sure. It's the new division, and it brings in a lot of good infantry. The Obleaders and the Diggers are solid line infantry. And then you get a lot of Shermans. Can wing it with Shermans alone, obviously. Good tank, so sure, it's the only thing you get, but they are good enough. Then you get some Wolverines, some 6-pounders. And in the air, you also get a good bomber with the Boston. And you also get some Spitfires, so maybe we see Spitfire on Spitfire action there then. And then also Stackhound against M8, also an interesting matchup. Let's go back in. These two guys set up on Shibutsuni with Gonzo again in the blue, again on the left. And Grey Fox again in the red, again on the right. And it's two Western allies, mechanized or armored divisions against each other, which should be pretty interesting. A matchup we don't see too often. And obviously it becomes more likely now that we got the second New Zealanders in as another pretty good division. I also would like to see maybe a third Canadian versus second New Zealanders matchup this season, because they feel like pretty similar divisions, but not quite the same. So all of this should be cool. And meanwhile, I just get myself my coffee, because I feel like I really need one right now, and then we will go in. Dog is escalating in the background. I don't think you hear it though. But wow. That dog is escalating. Okay. So Diggers and Wolverines against M10s, which they're pretty much identical. And yeah, they are identical in this one, especially as the M10s in the second plane they don't get the APCR shells. So yeah, 60mm mortars, voltageers, and waveless. So good infantry there as well, but the best infantry on the map should be the Obleaders. Those are really, really good infantry units for their price. 25 points, 12-man squad, 2 SMGs, 2 LMGs, a lot of rifles. You don't really need much more. They can basically get you out of every situation. Let's see when these two gonna start their game. I'm pretty sure I didn't pause this time, but let me just make sure of that once more. Yes, I didn't pause, so should start any second. Should start any second, because there's not much movement on any side anymore. Looks like 750 points are on the board for both of these players. And here we go. Here we go. Gray Fox versus Gonzo. Start at a 0. It's 1 for Gonzo here now. Gray Fox on the back foot, but maybe he can get himself a point in this one. We will have to see. Wolverines coming in. Mermaids on the other side. No stack counts for Gonzo. Interesting. A non-stack count start. Which is surprising. Usually you see stack counts with this division. And quite a lot of them. So, yeah, would have expected some here. Would have expected some here. 60mm mortar is unloading. Both forces coming in as well. Shermans and M10s in the rear. And we are at a 12-12. Bahis is opening fire now. The Voltageers get into position. That's maybe one advantage for the Blinde. They have half-tracks against no half-tracks. For the normal infantry at least. For Gonzo. He has those carriers that he could have brought in HMGs in, but he didn't. Okay, the 30 universal carriers are actually pretty cool because they got two 30 cals on it. So, quite a bit of firepower actually for 5 points. Surprised to not see them. Because I thought everyone agreed on using them. But neither the leaders nor the HMGs for Gonzo coming in with it. Maybe something in B comes in them. We will have to see. Meanwhile, Spahis struggled against Shermans, and that's why I don't like Spahis too much. Because they end up too often in an engagement like that and then just losing. Gonzo pushing onto the flag over here. Gray Fox brings in his flame weapons. Or LA flames. And thrower units. 57mm AT gun coming in the south. Already a 6-pounder on the side for Gonzo. Another M10 hits the field. So both sides believing in the power of the M10. German of Gray Fox gets pinned. Crew panicked. And the 6-pounder and the Wolverine try to finish it off. Will be able to do so. So the M10 of Gray Fox has to reverse. Gonzo, first blood in the tank engagements. Killing the first Sherman of Gray Fox. He has a 60mm mortar up here. But not much aggression for him yet. Not pushing onto any position on the map. Where do we go here? More Wikis, more diggers. Okay. Germans coming in everywhere. Germans in the north. Germans in the center. Germans in the south. Meanwhile, it's more and more attempts coming in for Gray Fox. More 57mm guns as well, but no aggression whatsoever from him. Which is surprising. Usually second Blinde is the division that you play really aggressively. So I'm surprised that he lets the New Zealanders dig themselves in. And obviously New Zealanders know how to dig in since Gallipoli. They got a lot of experience there. I mean, sure, that these guys might not have been there themselves, but maybe their fathers or uncles or brothers might have been there, so if you give them time to dig in, they will be nasty to get out. I think in a division that has half-tracks, you should use that for the aggression, but maybe he didn't really know where to push, and that's how we ended up here. So far, not really anything dying on the side of Gonzo. A couple of units getting killed off on Gray Fox sides, but obviously casualties still rather low on both sides. 13-11 for Gonzo. Where is this going? M10 and Sherman try to kill off the Sherman of Gonzo, which can disengage though. Not getting killed off. Bit lucky there maybe for Gonzo, who is now setting up a push in the center. There's not much to stop it there. This Bofors completely unprotected. That's interesting. Okay, the M10 from over here tries to come in, but gets killed off by the 2-star Shermans of Gonzo. 2 penetrations with 2 shots. Oh, this is not looking good for Grey Fox in the middle whatsoever. The M10s are up here, not down here. The Shermans over here start to cut off his supply route. Now Sherman of Grey Fox in a 1v1 duel with the Sherman of Gonzo. Half-track getting killed off. Bofors now under fire as well. More Shermans in the south, but he doesn't have anything to go there either. Sherman and M10 now coming in the center, but that will be too late for this Bofors. And the Oblitas getting supported by the Lynx, pushing on onto the Flamers. And only 2 Flamers shouldn't be able to hold the position. Oblitas get into the building with them, that means they can't use their flamethrower anymore, and both Flamers get killed off, M10 gets killed off, and Gonzo starting to break through in the center big time. Still nearly all the units of Gonzo alive here. Nearly no casualties taken. Sherman kills off the next half-track. Digger's getting hit here by mortar fire. 6mm mortar trying its best to help out. At least pinning those down. But voltages alone are not that amazing against Diggers. Sherman and M10 are coming around. Another Sherman from the north. Grey Fox trying to prevent a complete collapse in the middle. But yes, without being able to reinforce into this town, it will be tough. Gonzo getting himself into a really nice spot here. Half-tracks and Shermans now pushing in the south. Trying to achieve a breakthrough there. But there's a 6-pounder here, there's a Sherman here. The M10's coming around as well. Half-track gets killed off here. Gonzo just got everything he needs. This looks really desperate now for Grey Fox already. Wow. This was an interesting follow-up of engagements here. With like most of them going into Gonzo's direct, if not all of them going into Gonzo's favor. Another 2 Shermans here getting just heavily outgunned. Just the timings all fell off for Grey Fox. Like, Gonzo always came around at the right time, getting the right engagement, and he's now at a 59. And it's maybe not completely lost yet for Grey Fox, but the next 14 minutes he has to play on point if you want to come back here. Okay, Spitfire coming around for Gonzo. Spitfire of Grey Fox tries to get the shot down there maybe. The head-on though, and in that one, the one of Gonzo is just better. Also, will be able to get behind the DB. And the Bofors should be able to give it the rest. Oh no, the drops alone is even able to get the kill there. So even the air engagement is going horrible for Grey Fox. And Grey Fox just surrenders, and that was... wow. 20 kills? Oof. It was an insane show of skill here by Gonzo. Like, it wasn't even that Grey Fox was playing horrible or so, like... Sure, I pointed out the lack of aggression and so on, but the positioning and all of that was... maybe not great, but it was also nowhere near bad. Gonzo just came in there and took everything apart. Like, sure, a couple of bad coin flips and so on. Like RNG maybe prevented that from going up to like 150 or so by killing 2 Shermans or so, but I'm a bit speechless right now. Gonzo looked just once more on another level. Like, this is the Gonzo we all fear. If Gonzo shows up like that and just completely dismantles a guy like Grey Fox. What the hell? That was really a strong show here from Gonzo. Getting himself the 2-0 victory. After relatively close game number 1, where Grey Fox really was able to show what he can do. And having quite a lot of nice engagements there. Gonzo just brought the second New Zealanders out and went through there and got himself a 8-minute game, an 8-minute 800 to 35 to 20 kills victory. Props to Gonzo, and I would be pretty scared right now if it would be any of his upcoming opponents, but I'm really looking forward how that develops over this season, because I don't think that was Crayfox's fault by that big of a margin. Like, still played pretty well. It was just really Gonzo being on an insane level there.